All right, man. So I've got a new axe to grind in a particular way. I think online sports gambling is a new regressive tax on the American consumer. And by the way, you turn on sports. I mean, you commentate on sports, you watch sports. Obviously,
Hmm.
you can't escape the freaking betting ads. I mean, they're baked into Sports Center now.
Yeah,
It's
they're
like, hey, you know,
everywhere.
what would be a good bet to make on this game?
Right, right. They have segments now on ESPN with that, right? Yeah,
Yeah, and so now it's so
yeah,
embedded into the game. It's billions of dollars.
yep.
But I was looking into it, and it turns out that personal bankruptcy rates go up in states where you allow it. Because right now it's legal in 38 states, including the state I'm in, and,
Hmm.
and then it's not legal in 12 states. So you literally have a perfect like apples to oranges comparison. There's someone called a natural experiment. And so you can see that there are definitely effects, which is common sense. Like, hey, if there are enough people betting money, some of them are betting money that they can't really afford to lose. And
Right.
then, by the way, it affects their mood. There's even been some data suggesting that domestic violence has gone up in states where this has become
Yeah,
legal. And I read that and was like, that actually
yeah,
completely makes sense to me because,
yeah.
like guys. And I also want to out myself in this regard. I use these apps. I bet money and I think it's bad in the sense. Now,
Yeah.
I will say I've never lost more money than it's uh, like I don't have a problem. But what I do have a
Yeah.
problem with is
Yeah.
that it has completely warped my viewing experience. Where like
Yeah.
I would be watching
Yeah.
sports and be thinking, I like that team, I like that guy, I like that coach. Now it's like, what did I bet? Like what is the outcome that I want?
Right.
And
Right.
one of the reports that's come out is that pro athletes are saying, "Holy crap!" Like fans are yelling at me about their bets.
Yeah. It's yeah, it's funny you say that. I saw Tyreek Hill speaking about it. I think it was maybe on a Friday, like this past Friday, like it was before the game, before Sunday's game. And he was saying how he was out eating dinner with his family, with his wife and his kids, and someone had come up to him and told him, hey, you ruined one of my parlay bets. How are you feeling this week? And people
I
have the
know.
audacity to like come up to you and say those things while you're with your family, as if you're just a robot and you're AI or something, like you're not an actual human being. And he was like, I mean, he actually spoke about this and was like, I don't care about your fantasy. I don't about your fantasy teams. I don't care about your parlays, any of your betting. He's like, I care about winning and whatever I have to do. If that means I catch one pass a game and we're winning, I'm fine with that. And and again, it's more easily accessible now. You have all these apps, and they're at the click of your hands. I don't know if you know this, Andrew, but in the NFL, I'm not sure about other sports, but for sure in the NFL, you cannot use those betting apps in the facility, in the team facility where you spend most of your time. You can't use them at any NFL regulated
Yeah, there's signs up, right? The signs like,
venue.
"Hey, there's no usage of these now."
Yeah, yeah, and like they're trying to remind you, and I think a kid got suspended. One of the I think he's in his second or third year. He got suspended for 4 games for not betting on his own game, but for betting on using one of the parlays, one of those apps. And I'm not even sure if it might even been college football, right? It was not even NFL, but the NFL doesn't want you using those apps at all in the facility, which I understand and I get that. Um, but one thing I was just actually learning about recently was that I know the NFL, they were against sports betting, and now that kind of Supreme Court, in 2018 made it legal, or at least kind of relegated that to be to the state's decisions. The NFL then started to make a push to take out these I don't know if they call it objective betting or whatever it's called, but basically bets that anyone can affect. So, for instance, like injuries to players. You see someone, you try to Nancy Kerrigan them, and like, oh, I had money on this guy. That that obviously that reduces that because you just never know how that can happen or why, like how far that would go. But even something as weird as the color of the Gatorade that they're going to throw on the coach for the Super Bowl, right? A player
A
could
player could
easily
definitely
be
be like, "Hey
like,
guys, let's go with
could
lemon lime."
you know? And
Yeah,
right, right. And Andrew, it was 2 or 3 years ago. I think it might have been 2 years ago. There was a guy who bet that there would be a streaker at the Super Bowl, and he bet I don't know what he put up like 10 grand, and he won like 500 grand. And guess who the streaker was?
Him.
Him. And the only reason he got caught is because he told everyone about it. And so now they've taken those are the things that they're trying to get out of the game. But I agree with you. I think it is, and there's obviously all these different studies. Psychologically, it's tough, and it affects. I think it affects most people who are not in a position to gamble. A few dollars away or a couple $100 here and there. It affects people the most that don't have that money, and then that reverberates, like you said, to domestic violence, and who knows what's happening with the children with all this stuff. So it's something, and I'm with you. I've used it a few times here and there. I've never been a big gambler, and I try to limit what I do, maybe $100 like total. I
Well, well,
like
well,
if
Dante, geez, man. I mean, one of the sign-up bonuses, like, hey, you make a bet, like, we'll give you $200 free to bet. What do you
right,
do? I
right,
mean, I
right,
mean, like I mean, shoot, like it's hard to turn down at a certain point. I'm like
yeah.
defending my own behaviors. No, I'm just kidding, but
Yeah, I do. It is something that I don't know how it comes to a complete ban again, since the Supreme Court came down with this decision in 2018. I don't know legally how that could
no,
happen.
no, dude, it's a state by state issue, and like,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me, one of the things I'm going to now be saying is like the 12 states that haven't made this legal, don't make it legal, and I
right.
believe that includes some of the big ones like California. I don't think
California,
it's
yeah,
legal.
yep,
Yeah, so the folks in your hometown of Sacramento, it's like don't legalize this stuff,
yeah, yeah.
and
Seriously,
then
seriously,
even in some of the 38 states, and look, this is someone who is a fan, and like I indulge, but I can tell this is a social ill.
yeah,
Like I'm now convinced that it's a regressive tax, and I think too that it's bad for the athletes because it like you said, it like turns you into some kind of AI automaton who's meant to produce certain
right.
numbers of results. It's like I'm like a human being trying to
Right. Yeah. Seriously. And
like
he's with his
trying to.
family. Tyreek Hill was with his family when someone walked up to him and said that. And it's just, people, you could hear people yelling at the games. I've had friends of mine who are players tell me that people are yelling at them during the game while the game's going on. Hey, I need two more catches. Sometimes it's funny, but and then it's like if you're losing and then it's like, I don't want to hear this. Like, please just stop. But yeah, like you said, I think I don't know what this does for the sports themselves long term, as far as like viewership. But it's definitely changed my viewership of watching the games whenever I have a couple of parlays, or like I said, even fantasy football. That's why I love it and I hate it. I love it because it's kind of competitive and all that, but I'm also like watching the games to make sure that Josh Allen throws 5 touchdowns because I need him to throw 5 touchdowns instead of like enjoying the game, like the Bills and Chiefs game, instead of enjoying that big game. This game this weekend, I'm gonna do my best to not, when I'm at the game, to not be checking every 10 seconds, checking my fantasy updates. And I'm going to try to enjoy the Eagles and Ravens game because that could be a Super Bowl preview. I mean, those two teams are going to be in it at the end. So it's something that's, that's more on a surface level. Obviously, that's not as important as actually what's happening with families that are losing money, money that could go to other things more important, like investments, buying homes, things like that. So, on that level, I think it is. It's dangerous, and the studies have shown that for sure.
Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. Please do hit like and subscribe and hit that bell if you want to be notified every time a new episode drops. Thank you.